The PGA Tour does not change a final round schedule for no reason. At 12:11 in the morning on August 2nd, 2026, official word came out of Detroit that Sunday at the Rocket Classic would not look anything like a normal Sunday. Tee times pushed back. Threesomes instead of pairs. Players sent out from 2 different tees at the same time. And behind all of it, a forecast calling for as much as 3 inches of rain on the day the final Rocket Classic in history is supposed to crown a champion. Before we get into what that schedule change means, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We are working toward 15,000 subscribers, and I want your pick for this tournament in the comments before you watch the rest of this. Now let us go back to Saturday, because moving day at Detroit Golf Club completely rearranged this tournament. Davis Riley shot a 7 under par 63 and moved to 15 under for the week on rounds of 68, 64, and 63. What made the round stand out was how he finished it. He made birdie at both the 17th and the 18th, which are the 2 hardest holes on the property. The 17th was converted from a par 5 into a long par 4 during the renovation, and it is played as the toughest hole on the course all week. Davis Riley rolled in a 54-foot putt there for birdie, then followed it with another birdie at the 18th and let out a fist pump. After the round, Davis Riley said, "I'm just super excited for the opportunity tomorrow." He added that he was grateful and said, "I'm just excited that I've started to put things together and have a chance tomorrow." 24 hours earlier, almost nobody was discussing him as a contender. On Saturday, he passed a long list of established stars on his way to the top of the board. One shot behind him is Michael Brennan, who is 24 years old and shot 64 on Saturday to reach 14 under. He will be in the final group on Sunday. On Saturday, he played alongside Rickie Fowler, the player he grew up idolizing. And he responded by taking the lead on the course for much of the afternoon. He also produced one of the shots of the day, hitting a wedge from 85 yards on the 13th that flew past the hole and nearly spun back into the cup. His only real blemish came at the last. Michael Brennan could not get up and down from just in front of the 18th green and made bogey, which is what allowed Davis Riley to move ahead of him. He is chasing his first PGA Tour victory, and he reached this level in part by winning a PGA Tour Americas event in Windsor, Ontario in 2025, which is directly across the river from Detroit. Asked what a win would mean, he smiled and said, "It would be awesome." He then added, "It would be great." The lowest round of the day, though, belonged to Rasmus Hojgaard, and his story is remarkable. He made the cut on the number at 3 under par. He then went out early on Saturday and fired a 61, jumping roughly 60 spots on the leaderboard in a single round. The round contained 9 birdies and no bogeys, and he made more than 130 feet worth of putts. He holed a 32-footer for birdie at the par 4 16th. At the difficult 17th, his drive went well left. He punched out to just short of the green, and he got up and down to save par. "Got away with that one," Rasmus Hojgaard said afterward. He then had an 11-foot putt on the 18th that would have given him a 60, the first in the history of the golf course. And it missed just to the right. Rasmus Hojgaard is 25 years old and from Denmark. He has 5 wins on the DP World Tour, most recently in 2024, and 1 win on the Asian Tour. He has never won on the PGA Tour. He had also missed the cut in 3 of his last 4 starts coming into this week, and his best finish of the season was a tie for 9th at the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches. Describing his approach on Saturday, he said, "Today I stayed present. I didn't get ahead of myself." He then made clear what comes next by saying, "That's the game plan for tomorrow." There was a family angle to Saturday as well. His twin brother Nikolai Hojgaard made an early charge and reached 8 under on his first 9 holes. He then made 4 bogeys between the 7th and the 11th, finished with an even par 70, and sits at 5 under for the week. The course record situation at Detroit Golf Club deserves its own moment, because it has become one of the defining statistics of the week. Jake Knapp set the record with a 61 in 2025. But that round was 11 under par because the golf course played as a par 72 at the time. 2 par 5s were converted into par 4s for this year's tournament, so the course now plays as a par 70. That means 61 is now 9 under par rather than 11 under. Peter Malnati tied the mark on Thursday, Cameron Young tied it on Friday, Rasmus Hojgaard tied it on Saturday. 3 consecutive days, 3 different players, the same number. While all of that was happening, several of the players who started Saturday at the top went backward. Patrick Cantlay shot an even par 70 and remained at 10 under. It was described as a frustrating day on the greens for Saturday's final grouping. Cameron Young was in that same group and shot 68, dropping to 12 under. Patrick Fishburne, who had been part of the 36-hole lead, followed rounds of 64 and 66 with a 74 and fell all the way back to 6 under. Peter Malnati, the man who opened the tournament with the first 61, followed it with a 71 and then a 74, and now sits at 4 under. Jordan Spieth and JJ Spawn both shot even par 70 and are at 6 under. Tony Finau also shot 70 and is at 5 under. Here is how the board looks entering the final round. Davis Riley leads at 15 under. Michael Brennan is second at 14 under. Tied for third at 12 under are Rasmus Hojgaard, Chris Kirk, Rickie Fowler, and Cameron Young. Tied for 7th at 11 under are Xander Schauffele, Michael Kim, Michael Thorbjornsen, and Christopher Ventura. Tied for 11th at 10 under are Patrick Cantlay, Matt Wallace, Si-Woo Kim, Ben James, Luke Clanton, and Justin Lower. The key number is this: 17 players are within 5 shots of the lead with 18 holes to play. Rickie Fowler carries the strongest emotional storyline of the group. He won this tournament in 2023 for his 6th and most recent PGA Tour victory, and he did it by making birdie at the 18th in regulation and then again in the playoff. He has been a long-time pitchman for Rocket Companies and previously for Quicken Loans, and he has played in every single Rocket Classic. On Saturday, he made 3 birdies in his final 6 holes to reach 12 under. After Friday's round, he said, "Nice to finish with birdie on 18. He also said, "A lot of good stuff today and nice to be in a good spot for the weekend." Cameron Young is the highest-ranked player still in contention as world number 3. He finished runner-up at the Open Championship behind Ryan Fox earlier this summer and tied for second here in 2022. As Friday's 61 was bogey-free and included 6 consecutive birdies. On the nature of the game itself, he offered a line that fits a final round perfectly. It's kind of just a game of being ready for whatever comes next. Chris Kirk sits at 12 under as well. He has performed consistently in Detroit for years and lost in a playoff at this tournament last year. Xander Schauffele, a 2-time major champion, is at 11 under and is playing in Detroit for the first time in his career. Patrick Cantlay at 10 under has not won since the BMW Championship in August of 2022. Speaking about his season, he said, "It's pretty mediocre so far, but golf's funny." He followed that with, "You can change your whole season in a week or 2. He is also 17th in United States President's Cup points and confirmed that making the team is a significant goal for him. Si-Woo Kim shot 65 on Saturday to reach 10 under, and his week has been eventful in every sense. He made a wrong turn into Canada earlier in the week and was held by Border Patrol for over an hour because he did not have his passport with him. On Saturday, he made a double bogey at the par 4 16th after missing a 3-foot putt for bogey, then immediately answered with a birdie at the 17th, the hardest hole on the golf course. The betting market has produced something unusual. After the third round, Michael Brennan is listed at plus 300, Davis Riley at plus 350, Cameron Young at plus 480, Rickie Fowler at plus 1,000, Chris Kirk at plus 1,300, Xander Schauffele at plus 1,300, and Rasmus Hojgaard at plus 1,800. The market has installed the player in second place as the favorite over the outright leader. Tell me in the comments whether you agree with that. Now to the schedule change, which is the biggest development of the day. The official announcement from PGA Tour Communications read, due to forecasted storms and rain overnight and into Sunday morning, tee times for the final round of the Rocket Classic will run from approximately 10:45 a.m., 12:45 p.m. ET in groups of 3 from NOS 1 and 10. Play is expected to finish around 5:45 in the evening unless there is a playoff. Gates open to fans at 9:30 in the morning with hospitality service beginning at 11. The final group off the first tee at 12:45 is Davis Riley, Michael Brennan, and Rasmus Hojgaard. The group ahead of them at 12:34 is Chris Kirk, Rickie Fowler, and Cameron Young. The mechanics here are simple. Sending players out in threesomes from two separate tees compresses the entire field into roughly a 2-hour window rather than a 5-hour one. That buys the PG. A tour a significant cushion of daylight in case play has to be stopped later in the day. What makes this genuinely interesting is that the forecasters do not agree with one another. PGA Tour meteorologist Stewart Williams, in a forecast prepared on Friday morning, projected 1 to 3 inches of rain for Sunday, an 80% precipitation probability. Northeast winds of 10 to 15 miles per hour gusting to 20, and a low-pressure system tracking east across Indiana and Ohio. Local forecasters see less trouble. Brian Shurman of Local 4 indicated heavier coverage on Saturday evening, with shower and thunderstorm chances easing as Sunday progresses and a high in the upper 70s. Ashley Barassi of Div Television wrote on Thursday that Sunday brings only a slight shower chance and mainly dry conditions for the final round. In other words, the PGA Tour planned around the worst-case scenario and the local reading is milder. The schedule change may end up functioning as insurance rather than necessity. If weather does arrive, here is what actually happens. Under PG, a tour rules, lightning strikes stop play immediately. Standing water on grains also causes a halt. The standard procedure is to wait out the storm cell and resume play the same day. Sunset in Detroit on Sunday is at 8:50 in the evening, which leaves a considerable amount of runway. Only a full-day disruption would force the final round to Monday. And there has never been a Monday finish in the 7 previous playings of this tournament. Rules officials also have the option to invoke preferred lies, which allows players to lift, clean, and place the ball once fairways become soft. Rain would also change how the golf course plays. Softened greens hold aggressive iron shots, which rewards the high-spin approach players in the field and effectively turns the final round into a putting contest. Rain also erases the run-out that firm fairways provide, which costs the longest hitters part of their advantage off the tee. And under the compressed schedule, the leaders still go out last, meaning they would absorb the worst of any weather that arrives later in the day. There is a season-long layer to all of this as well. Only the top 70 players after next week's Wyndham Championship advance to the FedEx St. Jude Championship, the opening event of the playoffs. Tony Finau entered this week ranked 87th in the standings. He said, "I check it pretty much every tournament, just kind of see where I'm at, even on off weeks." He is at 5 under and needs a substantial Sunday. Brooks Koepka withdrew before the tournament began for personal reasons. He is 84th with 435 points, and Data Golf projects that roughly 580 points are required to qualify, meaning he likely needs at least 4th place at the Wyndham Championship. Compounding the problem, his agreement to return from LIV Golf means he does not receive sponsor exemptions for signature events, and he needs to finish inside the top 50 to be eligible for those events in 2027. Jason Day also withdrew, dealing with a back injury, and it was the 2nd consecutive event he has missed. He is 74th. If he does not tee it up at the Wyndham Championship, it will be the first time he has missed the playoffs since 2022. Patrick Fishburne is 145th in the standings. He put it plainly, "I'm pretty far down on the list." He added, "I've got a long ways to go to get where I need to." Ben Silverman, ranked 134th, replaced Brooks Koepka in the field. And Hayden Springer, ranked 132nd, replaced Jason Day. All of this is happening for the last time. Rocket Companies declined to exercise its option for 2027 after 13 years as a PGA Tour title sponsor, which included 8 years in Detroit and 5 prior years under the Quicken Loans banner outside Washington, District of Columbia. The cited factors were the tour's changing schedule and the 2-tier model arriving in 2028, sagging attendance, and difficulty attracting marquee fields. A problem that was finally solved this year. Tournament director Mark Hollis announced the decision by saying the tournament had created unforgettable moments for fans and raised more than $10 million for local organizations. The replacement has already been confirmed, a Sampo-sponsored event at Silverado Resort's North Course in Napa, California, scheduled for July 29 through August 1st of 2027, which then moves to an undisclosed venue in 2028 as part of the new championship series. Nick Barlage, chief executive officer of Rocket Entertainment Group, said, "We look at this as a bit of a pause." He added, "We're not giving up on golf." The company has stated it has no interest in the second-tier Challenger Series of the new model. The timing carries an obvious irony. This was arguably the best field in the tournament's history, with 4 players from the top 10 of the official world golf ranking, 8 from the top 20, and more than half of the top 100 in the field. The golf course also just completed a $16.1 million renovation. Greens were raised and expanded from an average of 5,400 square feet to 6,700 square feet. There are now more than 100 bunkers, and they are deeper. Fescue was planted across the property. The original cross ditches designed by Donald Ross were restored, and 2 par 5s were converted into long par 4s. The members approved that renovation in 2024 with the intention of hosting many more of these tournaments. Rickie Fowler said, "I'd love to have an event back here at some point." He followed it with "Never Say Never." Tony Finau, the 2022 champion, said, "I'm extremely sad to not have a tournament back in the 313. Sam Moynihan, the director of agronomy at Detroit Golf Club, spoke about his staff taking pride in presenting the golf course to the nation. The champions' roll call reads Nate Lashley in 2019, Bryson DeChambeau in 2020, Cam Davis in 2021, Tony Finau in 2022, Rickie Fowler in 2023, Cam Davis again in 2024, and Aldrich Potgieter in 2025. There have been 3 playoffs in 8 years, 2 of which lasted 5 holes. My pick is Davis Riley, but with real reservations. He has the lead and the momentum from those closing birdies, but he has to hold off a 24-year-old in Michael Brennan who has nothing to lose. Plus the world number 3 player in Cameron Young in the group directly ahead of him. So tell me in the comments, does the last champion in Rocket Classic history end up being a first-time winner, or does Rickie Fowler close the loop at the exact place where he last won? Subscribe to the channel as we push toward 15,000 subscribers, and we will have the full recap up tonight.